how dare you describe, you know, women who are always perfect, you know, this sort of ongoing language of getting women out in, you know, getting girls and women confident, but they're using this language of, you can do anything, you're never wrong, you know. I think that we've sort of got that message. Someone was asking about, yeah, Perry, you said, yeah, why are women sometimes, they can't take criticism, you're saying? And I thought, yeah, I've had those familiar moments. If I've been criticised, I'm like, how dare you, you know, in my mind, just like, I'm right because I'm a woman and
yeah, women
are, and you see that language in comments like women know, men are not, they don't say men are shit, they're just like, men don't know, men are this, men are that. And it's, yeah, you don't, either we didn't notice it or didn't seem, I think being a woman, I wasn't living in men's world, so I just didn't take notice of it or something so much until I could see, you know, with my partner, how he was struggling and how I just ground him down with words and emotion, and, you know, if he'd done wrong things, you could just punish him for it over and over. But then there are men who do really bad things, so, you know, we've got to separate. We've got people that want their own way, and they need to be reined in. And sometimes, yeah, you know, like from the men I've been getting to know, they will feel like, I don't know if more women to them are predatory as well. So they'll talk about how women prey on men for their money, or, you know, she just wanted to be taken care of and she didn't really love me, and or in the courts. But so yeah, that's where Mark was great coming in. He's been a cop and a policeman and for lots of years, wasn't it? And he talked about all of the different domestic violence situations that he was just at, where he could observe over and over different, you know, private scenarios, how couples are in their own home, what he sees, and sometimes it's really violent, and other times you can see that you know, maybe the girl is, he said he's seen a few women, you know, and yeah, he's not saying it's a predatory manipulative thing, but he said he can see how all women have to say is that he did this, and then they just grab him up. That's become, you know, they have new policies. The policies have to be put in thick and fast to get these problems sorted. So maybe in the 80s and 90s, they just put in all those measures to fix everything up. And now it hasn't, a lot of that stuff hasn't worked. He has seen that the police isn't very effective in a lot of ways. They don't know a whole lot. They're just told what to do in each situation, who to grab, and you separate them. And sometimes maybe they don't need to be separated, just talk to, and
yeah, because I think that came as a package where I'll say 96% perpetrators are men, and
96.
So they'll go to a situation and just will think, oh, that's our training, you know, that's what we have to carry out, you know, unless she's standing there with a knife standing over a body, you know, with a blood everywhere. It'll just be assumed as the man. And you know, I just, that rant the other night, I just really need to get off my chest. I sound like my dad sometimes. Other times I just sound like a disgruntled geek from Canberra, you know, and just disappointed. I guess the comparisons I was making was I grew up in the stuffy old patriarchy where it was boring, but I didn't appreciate it because it was a measure of freedom, although it was stifling, and it was a bit like Wake in Fright, that movie Wake in Fright, a bit of every so often. It was a measure of freedom, like the freedom to just work for a while and just quit and stuff. But just hard on myself, and I just didn't think ahead. I guess there was an album by Richard Hell and the Voidoids called The Blank Generation.
Yeah.
That seemed to sum up my my mob. Blank Generation. And that was really good to talk about that because just blurted out. I just thought I was spraying barbs in all directions, but it's disappointing because like the entire old patriarchy, it's gone, and it's replaced by a new religion, and that's even more strict. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
That's my disappointment. That I've been seeing the symbols, with washing the feet at Chop Chaz and talking about the original sin of slavery or, of settlement or colonization. And I think it's just been drilled over and over and over and everything like that. Like it's just sleeping in. And it's a religion, religion of woke, and ironically, it reminds me of like an order, like a Jesuit order or something, the same sort of thing. But I'll tell you what, if whatever happens, because I got a no dog in any more fight anymore. About a week ago, I just thought, just go monk, you crazy bastard, and
dress up as.
Yeah, I'm going to dress up as a monk. Today I identify as a piece of bamboo, as you can tell. Masculine presenting transgender lesbian identifies today as a piece of bamboo. But
well, when you talk about are there women MGTOWs? Yeah.
what's MGTOW?
Is it MGTOW?
MGTOW.
MGTOW. MG, men going their own way.
I don't know that. What's that?
Oh, you're lying.
I've never heard of it, Maureen. MGTOW, never.
I thought it was Pound Town, when you get intimate with someone.
MGTOW. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me about it.
Well,
I'm just a rebel.
I love hearing that it was this movement that happened, 100 years ago. Men just went, we've been thinking about it, and why do we have to be husbands and fathers? Just like women have their own shared, forced whatever. Men are, and when I heard that, of course there is all these movements. It didn't just all start in the 60s and everyone just started thinking freely. And then there's philosophy where no one in the sociology department, well, not no one, a lot of the professors have studied sociology, and I kind of wonder, like, well, why don't you start the classes with talking about the nature of why we're here and all these foundational things instead of just going straight to what is it, critical theory, where you've got your oppressor and you're oppressed, and the oppressed have to rise up, and you've got all of your minority groups, and
they don't rise up. They just pull people down to their level by taking resources off them, I think, telling them they're privileged and just removing their right to speak, their right to an audience, or even be heard with a loud of jumping up and down and shouting wokery. That's the oddest part. I think just people are just on this guilt thing that just have to be equality. It's been rebranded as sort of egalitarianism or altruism. Do you think that?
Altruism. What's that one?
We're being dragged down, like all of us. So women are being thrown under the bus. If there's women are going to be thrown under the bus. So
I wondered if it's like
MGTOW, I don't know anything about MGTOW. It's not a movement though; it's a philosophy. But I don't know.
I can't tell.
But Jesus, I think, I don't know anything about it, but I think Jesus was a MGTOW, and the Bible was the first red pill book.
Oh.
So, yeah, but be quiet. My
Neighbours might hear you.
Yeah, I haven't heard that. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, like when I hear, I don't know, it was popular to say that Jesus had sex with Mary Magdalene, and immediately I thought, why would he need to do that? Why? How is that anything? You know, so a man wanted to have sex with a woman. Well, he was representing love, and how does sex have to be in that? You know, and these are like feminists saying that. Oh, he was a man, and she wanted to, you know, like they just worshipped who he was as a pure, loving, you know, she was being judged by the Pharisees as a prostitute, and I think they're saying maybe she wasn't really a prostitute, she was just labeled, or, you know, and all the other women in the Bible were important. Like the first people to see him rise was the group of women, and the last people that stayed with him before he died were women, and with the oils to anoint him. And then I guess the men, yeah, were following him and had a different roles, and society was a certain way. And it's, yeah, the community, yeah, there's community-based societies everywhere where women have their house domain. They still seem to work and make money, but yeah, the house and the children. And I wouldn't like to live like that, I guess, because I was just brought up free. And even my dad, the conservative Catholic, you know, all his daughters were just free to do anything. Have babies, don't have them. Get married, don't. I was the first not to get married, and we had a child, and Dad was perfectly, well, he changed a bit to just go, well, this is how the society is, and it's at least, yeah, you know, he's seeing us together. He didn't accept homosexuality.
what number were you in the line of siblings, Maureen?
7th out of
7th
9.
out of 9th.
Yeah.
Oh, what an effort.
And do you think your mother, because people always ask us, having come from 7, Mum was told after the 5th child not to have any more. Physically, it had taken such a toll on her body. And she actually had a hemorrhage, I think, when Emma was ill, and my brother, who's the youngest, so the 7th, and could have died. What do you think? We've sort of developed our own way of thinking that Dad was a sex maniac. I mean, she loved babies, and she really did love babies, but she loved babies, and then they got bigger and it became harder for her. So we think it was that whole thing about this nurturing of the baby. And I mean, I was born 10 months after, my sister was born 10 months after me, and then the 2 younger were only 10 months apart. So how did this play out on your mother physically? Like, do you think she wanted to have 9 babies, or?
Yeah, she was, well, she definitely had the loving the babies thing. So, and yeah, as the 7th, something happened. I think she had a prolapse, and the doctor said, you can't have any more children. And she said she was depressed after hearing that. And the last 2, they're like her babies, you know, they're still kind of very close with her, and we all mothered them, you know, we can't think of life without them. But yeah, and what you said about as we grew up, she just didn't know what to do with us, you know, we were on our own to, you know, bring each other up as well. Like I had, yeah, my older sisters but they're not responsible for us. Now they're starting to feel a bit bad that they weren't there when we were teenagers. They both were overseas for a lot of years, and I think I was 12 when they left, and about maybe even 17 or 18 when they came back. So yeah, I want to have those conversations about things that went on, and that it's not their fault, but if they were there, they'd probably notice and do something about it instead of, that we didn't have parents in the house. It was just a bit chaos but fun. We had all our friends come over, and
that's wonderful.
We had a messy house, so we weren't poor, but I felt like we were low class because of how our house was. But Mum just had to keep it together. She wasn't going to spend money on furniture. She was trying to pay off the house, and she was annoyed at Dad for being a weak, kind of non-hitting father. He didn't want to hit any of us, but we would be naughty, and he would, all the anger would come up, and his hand would come out to hit us, and just a little tap, just like, bugger you all. And I don't, but Mum, she'd reach for the belt, and we'd go running. Sometimes she
Can't
got
do
it.
that now, eh?
No.
I
I made a joke that maybe some kids need a spanking. Someone went off their brain, and I was just trying to say, yeah, I'm just joking. I haven't hit my children, but you look at some kids, and it's just like, just a little spanking for that one.
It's I think there's, it's like too much government interference, like political correctness. It's more government, oh, you can't say this anymore, or you can't say that. It's like, why not? Because it offends you. It's like fake outrage. What are they doing? Convulsing? They're having a bloody, cerebral hemorrhage. You know what I mean?
I was thinking about my sisters, that there's these rules that they have.
It's a mortal sin,
Yeah. There are these rules. I'm thinking of going, what are these rules? Have you thought about these rules? What, I can't talk to a man about abortion? Why not? And also, what if he's a pro-choice man? That makes it okay. So suddenly, well, they haven't answered that. And a lot of pro-choice men, they don't know either. So they're just parroting what they've heard or read, and they go, every abortion is perfectly it's just some cells, or it's just this or just that. And I sort of didn't think, when I said to another sister that our conversation was talking about that it's like murder. It's like eating animals. It's like, we know it's killing something, but we do it. And we need to just go, accept it, not go, it's not murder because it's a bunch of cells. Just go, this is what it really is. And women actually feel that they have committed something, maybe not all of them, maybe some, I don't know. It's, 8 weeks, they're so tiny, and they actually make you wait until 12 weeks, I think. I had one in the hospital, and I was quite shocked when they said, we're going to wait until a few more weeks. And I'm like, no, what do I have to do? And then I guess it's just like another procedure, and you're meant to see it that way. So I don't like that we're meant to see it as certain things, but our experiences as women are all different, and we should be allowed to say, no, I'm affected by this, and I'm not trying to, screw up all the political stuff that the feminists want to preach. It's like, this is the actual truth about women, and that and now the women, like you said, Kate, being thrown under the bus for different things, and they actually think they're being feminists when they're just not allowing anyone to talk. So the knowledge, or the reasons, the reality isn't coming out. Maybe reality doesn't matter. They just want to control it and sort of have a utopia kind of reality.
I think
what?
There's lots of men that don't actually want to be fathers. And now the problem is, we're in 2020, women get to a certain age and they're desperate to have a child, and there's no father on the horizon. And so they're making these decisions themselves, that it's their right to get pregnant and have a child and fuck the father. And, you know, I've met men that are actually, they weren't included in that discussion, and they get, you know, they get really upset because, hang on a sec, this is part of my choice, but I no longer have a choice about it. And so I think that's another way of looking at it as well. Sorry, Perry, you were going to say?
I just got to put the chickens to bed.
Oh yeah.
That's, I like, God, I forgot what I was going to say, but I like listening to it, but I'll be back in a tick.